please mute your phones. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here.
Colin Smith.
Here.
Helmut Binder.
Here.
Bob Goodwin. Joe Hughes.
Here.
Anthony Jordan.
Here.
Jack Stewart.
Here.
For some reason it's on. Yeah. I want Jack's lots.
You have minutes in front of you.
Yeah.
Chair will entertain a motion when you're ready.
I'll second that.
She says 9:26.
Helmet second. Anthony third.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes accepted. Because we have the engineers here who are going to speak. Is there anybody who wants to speak that doesn't want to stay for the whole thing, wants to get in and get out? John, you're on.
Okay, I will call.
You want to speak?
Yeah, me.
I'm gonna be long,
Yeah.
so if you're short, you go right ahead.
You go right ahead, hon. I
No,
like
I
to
mean,
hear
you're
your
gonna
smile.
be a while.
That's okay.
Oh, Dennis, go ahead.
Okay, so
I'll be a wow too.
Yeah.
my name is John Claybaugh. I'm a senior project manager with Stifler McGraw and Associates. We've been retained as the borough's engineer for the calendar year. And with that, you guys have us looking into a multitude of different challenges that, as a borough, you're going to be facing over the course of the next few months. I will apologize in advance. This report's going to be a little longer than usual because you have a lot of things going on here in the borough that are going to require some attention. So I'll start first.
Bob, can you mind coming up here to?
Sure.
I know Joe's kind of hard of hearing.
I may be a mic.
I didn't want to see that.
I apologize for anybody my back is to, but, so the first item on our report today is you guys have requested a proposal relative to a park master plan. So with that, we had our landscape architect take a look at what the scope of that master plan was to be and put together a time and materials estimated fee to prepare the documents that you've requested. I know you have some upcoming meetings with your planning committee coming up, I believe, later this week. So with that, we have for your review and possible approval a separate scope of services related to the park master plan. The estimated fee for that was $7,500. So with that, if you have any questions about the proposal itself, I'm happy to answer those. Otherwise, should you choose to take action on that proposal, that would be at the discretion of the borough and would require a motion sometime this evening. Any questions on that before I move on to item 2?
Do you have a copy of that for us?
Yes.
2 copies or just one?
2 copies. So
So
there are 2 copies.
Absolutely.
If you choose to execute them, please return one of them to us. The second one is for your records. Do you want me to move on with point 2 while you review that and we can circle back? So the second topic it revolves numerous items associated with your wastewater system, both conveyance and treatment. The first couple items are very easy, just a request for documents. So my understanding is your contract operator, CWM, is preparing or has prepared and submitted on your behalf a Chapter 94 report. If we could get a copy of that, it would assist us in correspondence that we're going to have upcoming with the DEP.
Are we talking about permits?
Technically, this is an annual report rather than a permit.
It's, chapter 94 is done.
Right, it should be. It's due by the end of the month. I believe it's just something that your contract operator has in their possession. So the borough is currently in receipt of a consent order and agreement dated 3/3 of 2026 associated with the sanitary sewer collection system. So the original facilities, all the buried conveyance facilities here in the borough were originally constructed as a combined sewer system, meaning that you had stormwater and sanitary flows mixing in the same pipes, and you maintain multiple potential discharge locations with the primary mode of conveyance conveying all the combined sewer and storm flows that are captured down to the wastewater treatment plant. And the wastewater treatment plant or the collection system reaches its maximum throughput. You have several permitted discharge locations to the receiving streams. So according to the documents that you received from the state, they have issued to you what's called a consent order and agreement. It's essentially a negotiated settlement between you and the state. Because of a variety of reasons that they lay out in what is probably a 15-page document, they have indicated that you have accumulated numerous potential financial penalties with the state associated with non-compliance with their regulations. And with that, you have compiled what could be a significant sum of money that you would owe the state as a result. To that end, they offer up, and this is typical in this scenario, they offer up this settlement. And the settlement includes, in this case, you agree to semi-annual progress reports. You pay a civil penalty or a fine of $5,000. You agree to stipulated penalties of $250 per day per violation moving forward. So if you fail to meet, if you fail to meet any of the milestones that are going to be laid out in the consent order itself, for you're going to do this by a certain date, you're going to do that by a certain date. If you fail to meet any of those, you agree to not fight the fact that they're going to fine you $250 a day. And as a result of this agreement, they will also issue the proposed NPDES permit, which is currently in draft. Because of your non-compliance status, you're technically operating without an NPDES permit. It isn't that you haven't submitted one, it's that they won't issue you one while you are still in the state of non-compliance. So technically you're operating your facilities without a permit, not by your choosing, but by definition. So if you sign the CONA, they will issue you the permit that you have previously applied for, eliminating which is the largest of the potential civil penalties on the list. So with that, you actually have consent orders with the state that go back almost 20 years on this issue. They have been pushing you towards a separation project, meaning that they want you to eventually eliminate the discharges to the stream. To do that, you would need to either significantly increase the capacity of the wastewater treatment plant, or more likely eliminate the extraneous flow, get the stormwater out of the sanitary fluid. That way your sewer plant can only treat sewer flows, and you will only discharge from your system through the one discharge point after disinfection at the wastewater plant. That's the ultimate goal of the consent order and agreement.
So there's two options right there.
There are two. They will regulate one out of existence. So there are technically two, but they will make it so it's very, very difficult for you to fund the increase in size to the plant, because they're going to make you do a financial analysis that not only covers the cost of the plant, but also the ongoing cost of treating the extraneous flow. Eventually, fixing the problem on the source side will outrun the cost of the expansion of the plant, and thereby cause you to address the piping system itself. So there are technically two options, but there's only one that you're going to be able to move forward with. So with that, you received some documentation. You did submit a response to the initial correspondence back on February 11th. With that, you requested two 90-day periods, two 90-day extensions. The state has not answered that letter. So therefore, they have not granted nor denied your request. The two 90-day extensions, one was you were bringing a new engineer on board and you were requesting enough time to get the engineer up to speed and allow review of your historical documentation. The second was you were attempting to evaluate what they call the capture rate. So according to what's determined as or what's termed the 9 minimum controls for operation of a CSO, the CSO is combined sewer overflow. Those are your other points of discharge. You're required by state reg to capture at least 85% of the flow that enters your system, convey that to the sewage treatment facility, run it through a full course of treatment, and then discharge through your outfall number 1 at the plant. An attempt was made to use some previously completed flow evaluations to determine whether or not you were at that time meeting 85%. If you were, it opens up some options relative to buying you and the community additional time before the clock runs out on having to separate. Initial evaluation of that data shows that you were around 70% capture. So you're below the 85% threshold, but that's based on flow modeling that was completed 14 years ago.
Yeah, because we don't even have meters that shows, so.
Correct. So the current course of action that we're recommending, having had some time to evaluate your existing available data, is we suggest that you seriously consider signing the consent order and agreement before the time runs out on the current letter. You have until 5/3 to do that under the current terms. We would recommend that you take that up with your solicitor. You need to have, it's a legally binding document, you need to have your solicitor review and approve of the document so that you can't say after the fact. They'll actually make you have a verification from your solicitor saying that he's reviewed it on your behalf, because communities have tried to say after the fact, we didn't really know what we were signing. We didn't really understand what was involved.
Yeah, damn.
So they will make you run it past your solicitor first so that you can't use that as a legal defense after the fact. This is not the state's first rodeo. You are not the first community to find yourself in this situation.
But with that consent order, are we not signing the fact that we're gonna pay X amount of dollars?
You're gonna pay $5,000 up front.
Okay. and
You currently owe they haven't released the actual amount, but in accumulated potential penalties, what they could fine you today for is gonna be multi-fold $5,000. They're offering you, they can't give you a consent order and agreement that doesn't include a civil penalty by rule.
So with this consent order, we're consenting to separating the runoffs.
You're currently consenting to a multi-point plan whose first point is you're requesting a time period. In your response, you would request a time period to allow you to install flow meters on the existing CSOs. Because currently the flow metering information that you have from 14 years ago never actually metered the outfalls. So right now, that 70% is a very soft number. There is very little way to prove or disprove whether or not you're actually meeting that target of 85. So we want to write into your response to the state one last off-ramp for you to evaluate, and that would be to gain enough time for you to install proper permanent flow meters in the CSO discharges other than at the treatment plant, and provide real-world data indicating what your true capture rate is. If that data supports the fact that you are meeting or exceeding the 85% capture rate, you can then choose to continue to operate as a combined system as long as you implement the 9 minimum controls as required by your long-term control plan. You have a lot of your current violations are administrative in nature, meaning that you failed to implement the long-term control plan, you failed to implement the 9 minimum controls as dictated by the EPA. Most of those are regulatory, they're administrative. It's reporting. Most of those don't necessitate a multi-million-dollar piping project.
18 million is what they said.
Right, we didn't do our own cost estimates at this point because we've only been on it a little bit, but I can tell you we've been involved. Little background for those of you that weren't involved whenever we came on board. The firm I work for represents a little over 100 municipal entities here in the Commonwealth. This is by no means the first time we've gone through this process with a community of your size. We've done bigger, we've done smaller. It all depends on the circumstances of the specific community, but separation projects, although necessary eventually, are never cheap. Because not only do you need to replace what is probably a 100-plus-year-old collection system because of its eventual degradation of the piping material itself, you also have to find a place for the stormwater to go. So you're actually constructing two systems. You're constructing a properly functioning sanitary system, and where possible, you may choose to reutilize your existing sanitary system as part of your storm conveyance system. But if the condition of that piping isn't sufficient, it's also not sufficient for storm piping. So there will be areas of town where you're going to be constructing two different systems.
So, the 9 minimum controls that we have not met over 20 years. I think
Correct.
Going back 20 years.
Yeah.
We're already flooded.
Historically,
Yeah.
and looking at the records only, your predecessors on this board have been fighting this fight for north of 20 years.
More than 20 years.
Yeah, you have consent orders telling you to do exactly what this is telling you to do, dating back 20 years. So the old adage of it's not going to be cheaper to fix today's problem tomorrow, unfortunately true. Construction costs continue to climb. I'm not telling you to jump headlong into a $20 million project tomorrow, but I have seen communities choose not to exercise the consent order and agreement for fear of the fact that you're committing to something. Your permit's already committed you to those. You're already obligated to meet those requirements, whether you sign this or not. This is truly the department's last olive branch before they take, I'll say, judicial action and begin to assess penalties associated with 2 decades worth of what they will consider to be non-compliance that's fully documented.
And that's probably gonna cost more than the project.
Way more. The whole idea is they don't want your money. They will take some of it because they have to, because the EPA indicates that to avoid the violations that you already have, they have to assess you a civil penalty. Otherwise, the environmental watchdog groups can come back and say because they didn't assess any penalty, the matter is still open. So the $5,000 that they've proposed in the consent order and agreement is, by any other scope, a nominal penalty that they would charge to meet that criteria, so that they can say that you've agreed to a penalty and a penalty has been assessed. It closes the matter looking backwards. It doesn't close the matter looking forwards. You still have to maintain compliance moving forward. So you have to be very clear on what that schedule and what those milestones are going to say.
And what's that time frame?
You currently have a draft that has a specific time frame. We would recommend requesting modifications to allow that last possible off-ramp that we discussed.
Do you
So
have that 15-page document?
do you have the CONA for this? You have just the water. It's in the office. I don't have it with me in the podium.
The borough has it, right?
Yes,
Do
the
we
borough
have
has
it?
it.
Okay, that'll be a
Yeah,
problem.
you definitely received it. It came to you. We just got a copy.
Yeah.
So on the sewer side of things, that is our recommendation, is that after consulting with your solicitor and evaluating this consent order, you provide a response indicating that you would agree to it with the following schedule modifications, and you include an extension of the schedule to allow installation of meters on the CSOs, a last-minute evaluation of 3 to 4 seasons, so that's going to buy you 9 to 12 months
Okay.
worth of flow evaluation to prove or disprove the 85% capture rate. If you can't prove the 85% capture rate, you're going to need to move forward with the separation project. Because by definition, at that point, you are not meeting the criteria necessary to keep the CSOs that you have. So that will be something that you'll need to act on, not necessarily this evening, but you need to evaluate that with your solicitor between now and your next meeting. I would urge you to submit your response to them following your April meeting. That way you're in before the end date of 5/3. Once the end date of 5/3 happens, they have the right to retract the offer of a consent order, and you can start getting things like a consent decree. Consent decree does not require your consent and is not as generous.
Can I ask a quick question on?
Certainly.
To do the flow meters for 2 or 3 seasons, as part of this?
Yeah, ideally, we would ask for 12 months so that we can see what your response to rainfall does with varying surface conditions,
Is there a
freezing, non-freezing.
ballpark on what that would cost?
Well, one of the items that we have on here for approval tonight is if you approve of us taking the next step, which is evaluating the actual cost estimates for the CSOs, if you authorize us to do that, we can get you more formal estimates. And we could probably do that before next month. We would put out requests, but we have to come down and do some survey and do some recon of your existing facilities. The as-built for the CSOs are, I'll say, a little inaccurate. And so in order to properly size the meters, we're gonna have to come down, take some field measurements, and verify the installation conditions.
How many meters are you thinking?
I think you have 7 CSOs currently? 8, so you're probably looking at 8 ultrasonic flow meters. You're gonna need separate
So
power
we have-
supplies for each one of those.
So we have to make a decision before we even know
Not
the price?
No,
No.
that's why I'm saying I think you should actually take action on this at your April meeting.
Yeah.
Tonight, you just need to authorize us to complete those cost estimates and give you some additional information between now and then.
Okay.
So on the sewer side, that's where we're at with it. It really comes down to the math of whether or not you can, do you have a choice as a community as to whether or not to keep the CSOs and implement the proper reporting requirements, or your system is incapable of meeting the capture rate, therefore you must do the separation project at least until you get down below those thresholds.
I don't think we have a choice.
We don't.
I mean, I think we need to evaluate, I think we do need to evaluate, our costs. We're gonna have to do that no matter what,
Yeah.
because we can afford it.
We're gonna get with fines.
Yeah.
Well, we can't afford
That's
a
gonna be
$20
way
million
more.
project.
No, but I mean, we're gonna pay fines regardless, and then at the end of the day, we're still gonna have to do the project regardless.
Yeah, I'm less worried about the fines, but worried about, this pays us 12 months. This gives us, this could give us 12 month extension no matter what.
Yeah.
Is that not correct?
Yeah.
It's what I would do if I was in your seat.
Right.
Yeah.
I would get the real world data. I would propose a reasonable alternative that has a path to compliance. And I would try and buy myself 12 months while I do it, because having that data will be necessary to properly size the eventual pipe system that you're gonna need anyway. So if it turns out that the data doesn't prove that you're meeting the 85% threshold, what it will at least do is provide the flow rates that you need for properly designing the system that will follow.
Hit priorities.
It's a way to keep your head above water and maintain some compliance with the state while still getting information that you're gonna need during the design process.
Is there any, the action you requesting for us tonight on that project, right?
The only formal action is just issuing instructions to me to prepare cost estimates for the CSO metering.
I would like to make a proposal.
Yeah.
Then we can move on with this piece of what we're doing.
I'll second that.
Here, Bob, here's what I suggest. I suggest you put it on the agenda for the second April meeting. That way we can agree to it, sign it, and get it in before the
Yeah.
5th deadline.
You're talking about two
May 5th.
things. We're talking about just to get an estimate
The cost
on what it's
estimate.
gonna cost
Oh,
us
okay.
to put those meters on the CSO.
And then we put it on the agenda.
What you're
for
talking
April.
about
Is
is
approving the
actually
consent order, or
approving
submitting the
consent
consent order.
Yeah, two different things.
Well, we're going through 20 years worth of information in 15 minutes, so
So
So let- help
Jack
me-
made the
help me out
motion.
here.
Jack made the motion.
I'll second the motion.
To approve Stephen McGraw to do estimates on what it's gonna cost us to monitor the CSOs.
Yeah.
That's correct, right?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, motion by Jack, second by Anthony,
No,
debate. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, now, as I was saying, I think we need to have it on the agenda for our second April meeting so that we can enter into the consent order with enough time to prove to them that we did it, so we'll have to have it on our agenda.
First April?
Our second meeting in April.
Got
Second
enough
meeting.
time?
It's cutting pretty close, isn't it? When is the
Is that
second?
cutting
I
it too
agree.
close?
Maybe the
Uh,
first meeting of April.
Second meeting. in April.
If you review it at the first meeting, that'll give you a couple weeks to have it evaluated by your attorney, so that you can take the formal action at the second meeting in April.
we have to have them by May 3rd.
Do I get that to you, the signed information? Who would I send it to, Victor?
We got them
We
May
have
3rd.
we have the contact, I'm sorry.
Well, once it's completed, you'll send it directly to the department contact. So the individual who signed the letter on 3/3 offering the consent order, you will reply to that individual formally, and you're gonna wanna send that with, I'd probably send it certified, just so that there's a paper trail in case they say they didn't get it.
That's on the 27th. Is that enough time?
Yes, sir,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Logan.
Doug, I
June.
have his address.
Thank you.
John, I wanted to ask you, I got a copy from LJ, the chapter 94 report.
Okay.
Do you want me to print that out for you? or-
No, if LJ already has it, I'll get it when I get back to the office.
Okay.
The only other thing before I move on from sewer, the status of the 4th Street pump station, you have completed partial repairs. You had one pump that was up and running. As far as directives to us, are you in a financial position that you want to evaluate options for repair or replacement of the second pump?
There still should be grant money left to do that.
Okay. If we could get information relative to the amount of expended grant funds and the amount of available grant funds.
COVID grant. There's money left. They put in for more.
Yeah, I saw the documents for what you did the first time. In the stuff that I currently have, I haven't seen anything relative to the second piece or
First
the
piece,
additional award.
They put a pump in, and the second piece, they did the electric. But there was a third pump we wanted to get put in. We put all new plumbing down there too.
Right.
So
Yeah, I know what we want to do. I just wasn't sure where we were at financially.
they went with, it was $134,000, I believe, grant. And then, there was no match. And then they put in for another $94,000, I believe. I don't know if it was ever, from my understanding, nobody ever said it was approved or not approved. That they put back in for $94,000.
Okay.
All the pricings was coming in so much higher than what we had.
Right.
So who has that?
It would have been Gibson Thomas. They was the one that,
So we need to verify we actually have it.
Correct.
Number one, was it submitted? Number two, was it approved? Number
Yes.
three, how do we get the information?
We need to get that before we can answer that question.
Certainly. So if you uncover any additional information about available funds and you would like us to assist in getting that other pump installed, please let us know.
we gotta get that other pump installed.
Sure.
Because that's gonna help with the CSOs anyways.
I know you need it. It's just a matter of I don't want to overpromise on your behalf. So,
What's the cost of that?
apparently, based on their estimate, it was 94,000.
So how can we knows how much money we have?
That is. What's yours? 20?
It's going to be more than 20. We'd have to pull the information relative to the pump.
I'm just messing.
Yeah, we would need the specific nameplate information off the pump that was installed as part of the last project, because I
They had
believe
to-
would.
yeah, they had to-
Twins.
Retrofit it because the old pump was so old. They had to cut it, put a new pump in.
Right, I knew there were modifications made, but we would need to get a copy of the purchase order for who supplied the first pump so that we could get an updated quote on the second
Oh,
pump.
man.
Was
I
it Pump
think,
Man?
I think I have all that
it's
information
Pump
in
Man.
that drawer over there.
Yeah, if you could just forward that to LJ as well, we'll deal with that. at
I'll
the
look it
office.
up tomorrow.
Okay, so that takes care of the wastewater side of our discussion, which takes us over to the potable water side of your discussion. On the potable water side, we'll start with the easier of the two, the Morgantown Road Water Line Replacement Project. So during our previous visit, you guys had discussed that you've installed several hundred feet of the 2-inch.
200 feet.
Yeah, of the 2-inch water line that was proposed as part of the grant application. And with that, you had installed that within the sidewalk to cut down on cost, to cut down on road closures and paving. And the question was whether or not you could reimburse yourselves for the work that was completed to date, and whether or not you could continue in that path, meaning staying in the sidewalk for the remainder of that run, as opposed to getting a highway occupancy permit out within the state road right-of-way. So to that end, we followed up with the LSA grant administrator. They've indicated that they will allow you to reimburse yourself with the funds to date.
The sidewalk?
Well, the work we did.
So for the work to date, you'll have materials, you'll have your own manpower if you have that documented and separated. So those are things that you can reimburse yourself for. And if you get the documents to us, we can help you with submission of that reimbursement request.
That's all, you got all that.
They will also allow, if you are in a position to do so, the best way to get you to the end of the project that you want with the amount of funds that you have is if you as the borough are willing to install the remaining 2-inch line. If you as the borough are willing to install the remaining 2-inch line, then you should have enough funds left in the LSA grant to then bid a project for a secondary contractor to come in to install the sidewalk and curb ramps.
That's what we wanted.
Can we do that, the sidewalk ourselves?
No.
Unless you're very good at curb ramps, I would hesitate to do it myself because they are
No.
fraction of an inch between perfectly good and rip it out.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that goes into it.
So with that, if I need to confirm that number one, you as the borough are capable and willing to install the remaining 2-inch that we talked about. I did bring a sketch plan to leave with you today for the areas that are intended to be included. The LSA folks did draw a line on coming across the street and making the tie-ins on the other side. That would not be eligible because it was outside of the original scope submitted with the permit application.
You're talking on Store Street.
Correct. So that would have to be excluded from the current project. And then at the end of the project, you can decide, once the funds are expended and you've reimbursed yourself for what you've already spent, if you choose to do that tie over later, you can get a highway occupancy permit to do that as a separate project at a later date, if you want to reuse those funds and get twice the traction out of them. So that is the biggest issue that I needed to verify on the water line project today was whether or not you were willing to do the installation of the remaining 2-inch. So with that, you'll have to take a look at the alignment, and based on the equipment that you know you have and your manpower, you'll have to take a look. You're very close to the edge of the right-of-way.
Yes.
If you're comfortable after reviewing plans that you're not going to cross the edge of the right-of-way into private property, you can do it without the need for, you can do it all under a highway occupancy permit rather than getting individualized easements. If your excavator is too large to do that without entering private property, it will be my recommendation that you acquire the necessary easements or temporary easements, access agreements. There are numerous one-page type documents that you could do if you need a little bit of temporary space to allow for initial installation. So the only other formal action we need relative to the Morgantown Road Waterline project today is we need you to pass a resolution authorizing Stifler McGraw authorization to apply for the HOP in your name. So you need to authorize us as your agent through PennDOT, and then there's a document that you would need to sign after authorization.
And that's for the,
It's technically a blanket statement that says as long as we're your engineer, you authorize us to submit HOPs in your name.
okay, and we'll need that when we have the sidewalk put in, because we're gonna,
Technically, you need it for the pipe too.
yeah,
You-
pipe going across, yeah.
You need it for the pipe even in the sidewalk.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yes.
Because you're still within their right of way, so we're
Yes.
gonna have to go in and permit the stuff you've already done and the stuff you intend to do.
Okay,
HOP stands for.
Highway occupancy permit.
I thought so, but I wanted to be.
It usually
Well, we're
takes what?
engineers, we're terrible about using acronyms that nobody else knows and
What's that
moving
take,
on.
60 days?
Probably close. So once you have a chance to review the quick sketch plan, let us know if you have any changes and we should be able to get the initial submission into them in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Now you do have the plans, you're gonna drop them off to us? or-
Yeah, they're with me back here in the corner. I'll get them
Great.
whenever I leave.
Yep,
These are by no means finished. This is just the alignment.
yes, that's fine.
You want that motion now?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
It's a resolution.
It's a resolution.
A resolution?
So what that means is I have to have something handwritten, or not handwritten, but something typed out that says I do hereby give Stifler McGraw the ability to make, to apply for.
Pass this down.
You have one already?
Making prepared.
The state writes it up for us. So.
It's at least your third round.
Yes, it is. This is year 23, so project way more than 23.
I can use this, but I don't have it on the agenda.
Resolution?
Yeah.
That's entirely up to you. If it needs to wait 2 weeks, then I'll just
I just
Once
don't-
it's done, then we'll see.
Yeah, I just don't have a choice, I'm sorry.
I completely understand. That's your job.
We can get it on the agenda, don't we, gentlemen? Yeah, sure. Really good.
Okay. So that being said, at your next opportunity, pass that resolution at your upcoming meeting, and then forward us the document. We can still work on the plans between now and then. We just can't submit until we have that document because we need to get into the
The
ECMS.
intention is to do it. I need to-
Completely understand. Like I said, it really won't slow us down because it's probably gonna take us at least 2 to 3 weeks to prepare the documents anyway. So that's the end of my good news. With that, I move on to the consent order documentation that you received relative to the water system. So we had an initial meeting with your staff, and then following that, we said we needed to do a whole lot more homework. We needed to go and see your facilities. We needed to evaluate what the state was seeing, what they were listing as violations, to find out whether or not it was administrative items that could be addressed through paperwork, or were they physical limitations of your facility? The facility simply isn't compliant with the current design standards that the state holds the other systems in the Commonwealth to. So behind me is Jeremy Wilson. He is one of our project designers. He and I did a site visit. We met with your operational staff on site, went through each and every violation that they currently accuse you of, and then since our visit, the state has been back and done another inspection. So we reviewed their inspection notes from their second visit. So with that, I will say the list is long, and again, I do apologize for taking up so much of your meeting. This was our summary of what your water system, I'll say compliance status currently is, and an initial evaluation of what your options would be moving forward, how to regain compliance. So as we go through this, and I don't mean to belabor the point, I will try and be as expedient as I can. Please understand that I'm not picking on your facility. We have to look at this the same way that the regulators look at it,
Right.
so that we understand
Right.
how we can help you get back into a position that you need to be. It's difficult because I know people take great pride in their facilities and their workers take great pride in their work, and sometimes things are just out of date. Sometimes rules change on occasion, and with that, it leaves you in a position where no matter what you do, you can't reach compliance without making physical changes.
Is this a 20-year thing again, or a 10-year fight?
I think it's a good thing we bought the 12 months on the sewer side, because this is going to be the hotter button issue. With this, you have a litany of violations from various DEP and EPA regulations, and there are some here's another thing that I want to be very clear about. None of the issues that we're talking about now involve violations of water quality.
There you go.
Thank you.
So with that, none of the product that you're putting out there is dangerous. None of the product that you're putting out there has failed to meet quality standards. Everything we're going to talk about here has to do with the way in which you treat your water and whether or not the facility itself meets design criteria. It's all about the method and not about the end product. In the list of violations that you have, it doesn't say you, as the water provider, are putting out a dangerous product. It does not say that people shouldn't drink the water. It does not say any of those scary terms that end up on people's Facebook whenever they hear that, oh my goodness, there's a problem with the water system. I won't say that all of these items are typical, but none of them are directly connected to water quality. A lot of them have to do with the way in which you can operate the system moving forward, and some of them have to do with avoiding foreseeable problems, even though the problem hasn't happened yet. Well, some more foreseeable than others. So I'm not going to read you this entire 20 pages, I promise. But the gist of it is, whenever we went through, we can't defend the majority of your physical facilities against the fact that they're not compliant with the current standards. I don't like standing up here and telling you bad news, but the facility as it sits is pretty much as the state has described. There are certain physical limitations that you have that don't allow you currently, to no fault of the operators, to meet certain guidelines. So one of those is chemical feed violations. So with chemical feed, there are certain precautions that you have to take for worker safety, and there are certain precautions that you have to take for consumer safety. Your current facility doesn't have sufficient space, physical space, to accommodate things like some of the secondary containment that's required in case there are spills. And you have to have separation of chemicals in case there was a significant release of one. Some of these chemicals react with one another.
Yeah.
So with that, you have to have specially designed spaces for the storage of those chemicals, and then the way in which they're fed into the water is supposed to be more automated than what your system allows for, meaning that they're supposed to be flow paced. So as you increase or decrease the flow of incoming raw water, the flow of each one of those chemicals should automatically respond to that varying flow rate. Yours doesn't, because it's an older style of feed equipment. It's manually adjusted, which is part of the reason why in your current configuration, the state will only allow you to produce water when there's physically a person standing there to make all those controls. That is a stopgap measure that they've implemented until such a time as you can upgrade the facility.
Is it the idea that we've installed a SCADA system up there?
The
Impact on
the
it?
SCADA system that you currently have is what I would refer to as SCADA Lite. It is a reporting system.
Okay,
So it is monitoring so that you can report certain variables.
and then,
It is not controlling those variables.
okay,
So there's a different level of SCADA required.
yeah,
You're missing in order to implement that, you would be missing numerous data acquisition devices, whether they be inline probes or meters,
yeah.
and then you would need to swap out your chemical feed equipment to a point where it could take that signal, the computer sees this input, sends that output, and it adjusts the speed of your chemical feed.
Is that what they want?
That's what they want. That's actually what's,
How much does that cost?
well, at the end of this, I'm gonna tell you that there is, I'm gonna cut to the quick.
Yeah.
You need a major rebuild. In order to facilitate compliance with all of these items, if you want to stay in the water business, you're going to need a major rebuild of your treatment facility.
Cost, regardless of our water being the quality that it is.
100% true.
So our water's safe, but the complaint is of how
Regulations.
What the regulatory agency would tell you is you haven't had a safety-related issue yet.
Right.
That does not mean that you were in compliance with the design standards.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
But then, like you're saying, like,
It's
you
the
know, it's
process of
safe
how
to
we're
drink.
doing it.
Yeah,
Then
I
why
got it.
is it if we have,
Yeah.
if you're compromised,
Yeah,
this,
I mean,
What's this?
this
Oh.
thing that, you know,
The amino, right, so what they're saying in these letters, you got your tier 1, your tier 2, your tier 3 violations. Each one of those, some of them are administrative, and what they say is left unchecked, certain conditions could arise. It doesn't mean that those conditions have arisen or that they have actually taken a sample where cryptosporidium is above the threshold.
well, my husband had pancreatic cancer and it was said from public drinking water.
Okay, so to that end, the chemical violations, if you were to do a renovation, they really need to be pulled out into a separate building where you would store and feed from that locale. Filtration violations, you have a number of issues you have older filters. With that, you have older controls. You've added some devices to try and address individual violations from the past. So you've to date attempted to take the low-hanging fruit off of the violations tree, and one of the things that you did is you added combined filter effluent turbidimeters, which is the new turbidimeters that you have over next to your SCADA system. The way in which your SCADA is taking that input and calculating your combined filter effluent is not compliant with the state standards. So the way in which it's interpreting that data is currently unacceptable based on the state standards. The sediment basins themselves, all the backwash and flush waste or discharge back to the sediment retention basin. And there's 2 violations at the facility that were observed for that. The first is the rate of recycle of the raw water basin is not monitored, meaning there's no meters on it. There is a limit to how much you're permitted to recycle back to the head of the plant, and it's 10%. And that's only if your permit allows recycle. We can't find any references that your permit ever allowed recycle. So currently, you don't have a method in place to deal with your backwash water or your sedimentate or your wastewater that is compliant with the current state standards. You have 5 what we would consider to be general violations, including a failure to operate based on standard operating procedures. That's administrative. They want you to write more formal standard operating procedures and then abide by them. There are guidelines for that at the state level. The other specific aspects that were related to that was the absence of an automated shutdown. So for any of a dozen or more inputs that are outside of a certain range, your system is supposed to automatically shut off. You don't have the ability to do that because none of your current manual systems are automated. So you have to have a physical person there observing each and every input, notice an out of bounds parameter, and then manually intervene. Part of the reason that they're only allowing you to operate when you're manned, but that's something that moving forward they're going to want you to rectify.
Now, is that something that you can just program through the SCADA?
You need a much more robust SCADA than what you have.
The SCADA we have will work, we just gotta add more to it, right?
You would have to add considerably more to it, and then you would have to automate a bunch of valves and motors, which you don't currently have.
So that skate system would
So
release the
to
money.
get
Regulations, they
everything
just
in
be bad
compliance,
regulations.
and for us to do what we gotta do, I'm sure you have an estimate of what this is gonna cost us?
At the end of all of this,
Yeah,
if I were to read you 16 more pages of things that are currently out of bounds,
I get it.
my recommendation is that you build a new filter facility completely.
And cost,
8.5,
how much?
8.5.
Sell it.
Basically regulate you out.
Sell it.
So
Sell it.
at the end of the
So let's just say 10 million. Let's just
Eight-
round it up a little bit.
8.5
I mean,
is fairly close, but at the end of the day, you have issues that your clear well is too small.
I,
You have several other issues, and I did hear references to sell it from behind me.
we're not doing that.
Well,
So-
the reason I recommend against that is a story that I like to share whenever it seems like it's easier to
Give a,
set aside a utility and have a larger system run it for you. The buyers in that market are for-profit companies. They have to meet all the same requirements as the local community does. And they have to satisfy their shareholders by turning a profit while doing it. So they cannot do it cheaper than you do. They do not have access to the grant funds like a community like yours does. I realize that this is a shock to the system and it's a huge number. The other 16 pages go through and indicate how we got to that, and we'll be happy to share that document with you. It was written for your use. But at the end
The
of the
problem
day,
is the public doesn't understand that.
right.
And they look at it like, well, you're gonna raise water bills, you're gonna do this. Well, if somebody buys it, get ready,
So
oh, your water's gonna go through the roof.
it's gonna go nuts.
And I don't think they also understand that our quality of our water is really good. It's just the process of what, cleaning it.
everything has a life to it, and your water treatment facility is nearing the end of its.
new regulations.
The regulations have
Get
passed by.
updated yearly.
I mean, I had a personal experience I had relative to the sales discussion. My brother and sister live in northern Pennsylvania. My sister sat on a town council just like you folks did, or do, and she called me and said, hey, we have this company that wants to buy our water and sewer system. And we need so much work to our water and sewer system. And they told us it's gonna cost us less because they're gonna spread the cost over all these other communities that they live in. What do you think? And I told her, listen, I'm not your engineer, but I told her what I just told you. They have to do all the same things you have to do, and they have to generate a profit while doing it. As such, I would recommend that you don't do it. She got outvoted. The town got the money to build a new playground, and they were excited. And then their water bills for a family, between water and sewer, their bills went up to over $300 a month. because they still had to do all the same projects without the benefit of grant money, and they had to generate a profit. So these are things that you should consider as you move forward. There are,
What's our timeline with DEP for this?
they
I
didn't
don't think they realize either that we.
respond to your request. So the answer is immediate. You have, Jeremy, do you remember the date on the consent order?
There's
The
only
response date?
Oh, the response date?
Yesterday.
And with that said, the next question is gonna be grants. What grants are out there for us to ascertain to do this type of work?
So Penvest is your best clearinghouse for this. They administer numerous both design and construction-related low-interest loan and grant programs. And they do it all under a single application. In the normal process for a larger community, if you had larger reserves, would be in order to apply for Penvest construction monies, you would normally go to the private market to get an interim line of credit. You would pay the engineer to get you to a point of eligibility, which means you have to have permits in hand ready to bid.
Right,
So you have to do hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of design work to get to that point.
right.
And then you apply to Penvest, then you get your construction loan and they allow you to repay your interim line of credit. However, the borrowing capacity for a community of your size is going to be insufficient to support that. So what will happen is we will do an exercise, and we would recommend an exercise where you request a line of credit from 3 reputable banks, knowing full well that they're going to reject you. Then you can go through, Penvest has a design, loan, and grant program that is considered to be a lender of last resort. They want you to exercise the opportunity to use the private market first. And then you can solicit design-related funds in the near term. They meet quarterly, so you would have to generate a little bit more work than we have now to put yourself in that queue. You would have to solicit for and be rejected by several lending institutions for the interim line of credit. And
About
then
what, 500 grand?
you're probably talking 500,000 to 600,000 to get from where you are to eligible. So that would be the path forward. We've taken smaller boroughs than you, believe it or not, through that process.
So this, I hate to interrupt you, but I'm just trying to get numbers together. So how long is the process after we would go that direction? Let's say we went that direction, we got the denial from the 3 banks, then we move on down the road.
Moving as quickly as possible, you're maybe 6 months out, between 6 and 9 months out from actually having design funds available to you.
And then what?
And then the design process to get to a point of eligibility would take probably a year. And then it would take you 6 months to get permits. Then it would take you another 3 to 6 months to get funding. And then it would take you at least 1.5 years to 2 years to build it.
So we're talking before production.
4 years.
You're talking at least 2 years before production.
Correct. But that's the schedule that you then negotiate in your consent order to buy you time before they drop the hammer.
Right.
That's a perfect world.
So, 2 years to get construction and then 2 years to get complete.
So you're 4 to 4.5 years from now till it's actually functional.
Meanwhile, I get it, okay.
The only thing that you would likely not be eligible, and we could look at that, is you would almost certainly need to acquire some property adjacent to your existing facility. And the property purchase may not be eligible. We have to verify that with with the specific grant program that they would be using. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
How much land?
A few acres. Ideally adjacent to your existing storage tank.
Do you think, drawing the water out of the cheat lake and pumping it up into our reservoirs is the way to go into the future, or should we be drilling water wells?
That's a question for a hydrogeologist.
Well,
Right.
you could handle that.
I could certainly communicate with the hydrogeologist, but I don't profess to be one. So it would depend on what the underlying strata looks like as far as water bearing zone and water quality. The estimates I gave were assuming that your source stayed the same. If you choose to evaluate other sources, it would potentially delay that process a bit longer. And the other sources could be purchased from an adjacent producer with sufficient capacity, generate redundant sources with wells, or utilize a different style of surface water withdrawal.
I was just curious because I understand you take water from a well, you don't have the same treatment.
It's certainly not the same type of treatment now.
And then also the open air reservoirs that we pump our water into.
Mm-hmm.
Some places have been asked to cover theirs.
Mm-hmm. Depends on the rate of algal bloom. So normally if you see covered raw water reservoirs, it's because they're having algae issues, where you get algae growing at a rate that will blind the filters. Currently, you're not having any operational problems with your current configuration, other than the fact that you have a lot of regulatory problems with your current configuration. So what we have based our very loose estimates, because these are sketch plan at best, on was constructing a modern version of the same type and style of treatment that you have in a new facility that meets all the state standards.
Location would stay the same.
Location would be adjacent to and likely on the parcel next door, because you have to leave your existing facility in place and operational, and you've kind of filled up the usable portion of your parcel. The rest of it is on a one-to-one slope down to the river.
How much land is up there with ours?
So, but would that still be the most optimum place to have this? We're talking building a whole new facility.
Essentially. And in that number that I gave you,
That's what I'm saying.
It's gotta be-
That's-
They'll build a pump
You're gonna be
station.
building pumps for that being on top of the hill like that, it's all around.
We bought land up there before.
correct, you bought land to put the tank on. We may want to check with the county GIS, because the deed work on the parcel that has the tank on it, you may want to do a boundary retracement on that. The GIS there seems to have, when you plot the deeds, because I was trying to overlay those with what was available at the courthouse, there's some question about where the specific coordinates of the parcel that you bought are.
That's life.
So you would clean that up in the additional acquisition anyway. You would have to do a subdivision to acquire it.
We don't know, that's not accurate.
That's the one I'm pointing at.
Right.
And again, that's not the GIS directly, but it's based on the county maps. When you pull the deeds, it shows it up in the corner over where the tank is, but it shows a different polygon shape.
Right.
So in any event, you would likely acquire the property directly across the street and some off of the back corner.
Mm-hmm.
You would build accordingly, and we would also interconnect it with your sanitary system so that you had a true means of discharging your filtrate.
Yeah.
Which I think it's already plumbed in up there.
I surveyed it and they
There's
said
already
that.
plumbed in up there, you
we
just
don't
have to
know
hook it up,
anything
that's
about
all you'd have to do.
In the near term, I would recommend getting the amount of accumulated sediment in that basin withdrawn. I know it's a cost,
Yep,
but it's something that needs to happen. You're almost out of storage volume
I
there.
think we do that, when it's supposed to do it every year, I believe we do.
But yeah, I would probably move that one up on the schedule. It's getting noticeably close to full.
Okay.
So again, I gave you 20 years worth of data, not all good news, in what probably feels like I said a lot of words this evening.
How up to date is that?
That was on X as of 2 days ago. So again, not legally binding, but it gives you a pretty good idea with an aerial overlay. That all being said, is there any other questions that you have for either Jeremy or I relative
Lord, no,
to?
you're no.
Mine was different.
I know, I told you I was full of good information, but not necessarily good news.
Hey, John,
Do you have a,
should we still be pursuing the holding tank and the transfer pump grant?
For repair of the existing water storage tank?
Yes.
I will tell you, I currently show construction of a replacement tank for that in that 8.5. So I would probably hold tight on that for a minute.
Because it's already submitted.
And the reason, if you get it, we'll retask it to build towards building a tank on the alternate site.
Okay.
I wouldn't withdraw it.
Okay.
But the final version of it may be slightly different than what you currently have. Don't turn down the free money. We'll find a way to justify it for the same purpose.
Okay.
But you want to get to a point, and this is into the technical weeds, where your contact time for the chlorine occurs before you get to that tank, and your current plumbing doesn't allow that.
Okay.
You have a card, just so I have it. I'm the solicitor, yes.
I do. So I'll pass a couple of these around.
Thank you very much.
Normally, you'll be speaking to LJ. He wasn't available today.
Is that who I should contact if I have any questions?
Either one's fine. We work down the hall from each other, so.
I get you. Thank you so
Question on
much.
the park.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Joe?
Regarding the park plan,
Yes, sir.
tonight or we do that next week?
Now, it says here that, we're gonna vote on it and go ahead.
We're on our agenda.
Yeah,
The question is that
right?
your language, engineering language description, is that the same as a strategic plan for the park?
Master plan.
No, it's not on the
is different than
agenda, I'm
strategic.
sorry.
Strategic plan is usually a term that's referred to as a town-wide or regional plan, where the master plan is specific to a given sector.
So we're getting some master plan to the park here.
Correct.
Jack, it's
It's
not on the
just,
agenda, we'll have to.
just your parcels. So, that being said, before I yield the floor, do you have any other questions for me this evening?
I have.
I'm going to assume that's a no.
Any other questions?
Thank you for the comprehensive update on our systems.
Yes, sir.
We have not had a frank and honest public conversation with our old engineers.
Or the engineering firm before that.
Or the one prior to that. So, it's much appreciated.
If there's nothing else for us, do you mind if we get out of your way then?
Take him to maintenance.
This also is a violation of sunshine.
We're gonna be able to
Get across that border.
It's showing that we have property, I know it has property, but that's not accurate.
That's not accurate.
Thank you for coming.
I just got,
Have a safe trip back.
I just got a survey.
I don't wanna be here till midnight, but.
Yeah, I got
Oh, yeah, boy. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Derek Don. I came here tonight to introduce myself as a new member of your community. Relatively new, I've been here about 6 months, but in my adventures, I get busy, I keep missing these.
Welcome to Point Marion.
Thank you. I have had a pretty warm welcome by my neighbors and that sort of thing, and some of the various things y'all got going on in the
What
community.
street are you on?
You want to let him talk, Cindy?
Let's-
Let's let him talk.
I'm 2nd Avenue.
All right, let's let him talk, Cindy.
Okay, so, okay.
Just to give you a little background on me, I am an Army veteran. I served as both a 19 Delta Cavalry Scout and a 15 Yankee Armament Electronics avionics system repair on the H-64 Delta, which is usually unilaterally what I'm doing. I only moved here after I got back from Qatar. I was there in Qatar. You may have heard of that country on the news lately. And I was there for 3 years. And now I'm back in the States, back in Appalachia. This isn't my only property. I do own 2 other properties in Cumberland, Maryland. But Maryland no longer really wants me in that state. I'll say that. So I opted to move over here.
Should we be concerned? Let me give him a card. No.
Well, it depends on, do you like to paint your hair blue? No. All right, well then that kind of answers your question. I do have degrees from Frostburg State University, political science, recreational park management, and criminal justice. I triple majored because I was bored. But I am available. I have left my phone number if the city council has any need of me or has any questions for me. Joe, I've been trying to catch you at VFW meetings, but you never show up. I run the meetings. Yeah, you're never there. I've been to 3 and it's never been happening.
He's trying to avoid you.
I know. See, this is the kind of trouble I keep running into. That's all I really got. It seems like you guys have a rather large agenda and trying to beat down 20 years of kicking the can. But if you do have any use of me, Parks and Recreation, Political Science, Criminal Justice.
Your phone number's 240?
Yeah.
So is mine.
Well, I picked it up years ago.
Yeah.
And I am nomadic in nature. I keep trying to find a place to put down roots. But I keep finding reasons to go other places. Hopefully that doesn't happen here. And that's all I got. Thank you.
What was your MOS?
19 Delta, Cavalry Scout, and 15 Yankee, Apache Armament, Electronics, Avionics System Repair.
That's way above 11B.
Yeah. But 19D is still in front, so you should have a good eyeball on what we're doing.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ms. Costa.
I'm not gonna speak. Mike, I've got my
Okay.
question answered.
Cindy.
Hey, when's the, road's gonna get started, do you know?
As soon as the plants open it up,
Are they gonna start on it?
they're gonna start putting they're gonna do gas wells, or gas lines first, and then they're gonna do the roads.
Okay. One fall. Sorry. I know.
Get out, but-
I was in the just in the hospital. So anyways, this new school somebody wants to work on. I don't think it's gonna win over. Not very good. Because there is, drugs in the neighborhood.
Seriously, I didn't know that.
I know. And the one school's gonna go and win over on another year of staying open. And we're going to possibly hoping it stays open for another year. So then where would you like to have this new school put at in New Great Point, Marion? Where would you like to have Point Marion location, a new school?
Thank you for your.
So
Pardon
I
me?
think that, my understanding is that, they can't do anything this year with the, closure of the schools, cause they didn't
No.
vote to have a hearing.
It said it was 1 year
So,
more.
I think we're just at a,
Mhm.
I think at this
But where would
point,
this new school be at in Point Marion?
That I don't know.
On Freeling Street.
There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
That's
I
an,
Where
think
would
that's
you
a,
like one
I think
at,
that's a
sir?
mood issue now at this point.
Yeah, it's like,
I think it is
But
too after what we
I
just
don't care
heard.
where
But where would the new school be built at in school? There used to be a school up here at Point Marion. My daughter went to it at one point in time until it closed. So where would we build a new school at in Point Marion? What land?
You'd have to address the school board about that.
No, yeah, you should.
We've been going to every school board meeting, trying to find some stuff out. We've been doing our research. Like I said, we're not saying anything's happening like that.
Thank
They
you.
came to us and they talked to us. And there's many other options out there. But that is one option, is Point Marion. Not saying it's gonna happen here.
Never
Would I
happened.
like it to happen here?
I
Sure.
would never like it
We
to
all would
happen
like for
here.
it to happen, but what we
Yeah.
just heard now, I don't even think the water system could take it.
Is
No.
anybody's water system gonna be able to take it?
No.
There
But
you go. We have to do something.
To give us water.
We got
Not a
water.
school.
The thing is,
There's nothing wrong with our water.
we
No.
just, I mean, everything's getting regulated to where they wanna get more money. So, my opinion is,
For
our
a
water's
school.
great, we just gotta.
Well, one of the things you
keep
may
up.
not be considering is that with a school being installed, there may be grants
There you
available
go.
to the city
Thank
and the
you.
borough
Absolutely.
that we don't know about, and we can't plan for it at this time. That's why this board seems to be doing a lot of research, trying to answer some very
But wait a minute,
serious
wait a minute,
questions.
wait a minute.
And
We
you're
don't
putting,
have
you're
children
putting,
for
you seem
this
to
school.
be, ma'am, you seem to be putting the horse, the cart before the horse. You're asking questions.
Yep, thank you.
I mean, I don't want to be rude, but.
No, I
we
know.
gotta-
I don't
You
either.
guys can debate it.
That's okay.
outside
Thank you.
later.
That's okay. Thank you.
Yes.
But you want on?
I just didn't know if you wanna look at it.
Pardon?
I didn't get to put my name.
You wanna speak?
She wants to speak?
I just have a public service announcement. I'm sure your ladies have already told you all, but on Charity, I don't know if you guys follow the representative Charity Graham on Facebook. It's a lot of good information. If you have until April the 1st to sign up for Ethics Act training in Smithfield, PA, it's only an hour and a half long. Representatives from the state, this is from Charity's page. Representatives from the State Ethics Commission will be presenting and answering questions to help you understand your responsibilities as a public employee, how it applies to your role as public service. Come in and understand, they're gonna talk to you, they're coming in from the state to talk to you about your roles and responsibilities that come with serving the public. It's at Tuesday, April 7th, from 11 a.m. to 12:30, and you have RSVP by April 1st, so it's only an hour and a half. It's on Charities, and I do want to tell you that I did ask Mitchell for help with an issue, and I thank him for resolving it for me. And when I come down here now, I'm treated with a little bit of happiness and respect, and I appreciate that.
That's what it should be.
Everybody deserves respect, right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks.
Thank you, Mitchell.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, report.
The only thing I got, you and I talked, Joe, about a spring cleaning. I'd like to get with council and try to figure out some bugs and stuff of where we're gonna put the dumpster and how long we're gonna have it and stuff like that. Obviously, if we do go down this route, like, there is stipulations of what you can put in the dumpster. And if it's something that gets abused, then obviously we can't continue to do it the following year. But if it's something that works out and everything goes smoothly, and we do have a spring cleaning day and there's no issues, I think it's something that we can continue to do yearly.
My concern with
But I
that
think we
is,
need to try to have a spring cleaning day.
can I ask a question?
That's what we
Go
have.
ahead. Go ahead.
My concern with that is the cost, because we,
The dumpster.
With the
roll-
dumpster?
Roll-off dumpster.
What-
Start off with a
yeah.
roll-off dumpster.
but how many is it gonna take? Because some
Just
people might,
We're gonna try off one dumpster, and if it gets filled, then obviously we'll take different actions
Is there gonna
of
be-
getting multiple dumpsters, but if it doesn't get filled, then obviously the
Okay.
dumpster's good enough.
okay, are you gonna limit the people? They can only one
It's
one
spring-
truckload, or,
Spring cleaning.
because one person could end up pulling in there and filling up half a dumpster, is my concern, and then nobody else.
Exactly what happened.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Other people won't come down for use it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we get
Because
there.
I gotta tear a roof off and I'll be putting shingles in.
Yeah.
But some people will do
We're
that.
talking about spring cleaning off contract.
Then we
No,
get the
you're not,
trucks
you're not,
anymore.
you're not gonna remodel your house and then
And
use
we
that as a
appreciate that, but
dumpster.
you're right, there's gonna be someone out
There
there
is.
who.
There's gonna be
Right.
somebody that's
Well,
gonna
then-
abuse it for everybody.
Then if it gets abused, then it's something that we can't pursue
I
to
mean,
do
can we
again.
put it somewhere where we gotta set stipulations, like you're not allowed to
That's what I said.
throw so much in,
That's what
and
I
set
said.
it somewhere where there's a camera, like at the park, where the cameras can catch it.
That's why I said we gotta figure out a
We're not
location.
getting the
I didn't say a
garbage
location,
trucks
we gotta
this
figure
year.
out a
And
location.
it should be Point Marion residents only, someone
Yes,
should be
correct.
there, you have to show
Correct.
that you are a resident,
Yeah.
like show a water
And then
bill.
obviously,
So, and not everybody comes to town.
obviously
Yep.
something, there should be hours also. You can't
Yes.
come in throughout
You're
the
not
night.
getting a dumpster.
But that's something that I would like,
I
I would like
want you
to
to hear my
discuss,
sister's
to get
report.
all the specs down.
Wait till you
Obviously,
get back.
there's concerns, different
Yeah.
angles and stuff, but.
No, your
I
heart's
talked
in
to
the right
Esther
place with that.
about starting up like a cleaning thing.
Yeah, for sure.
No, your heart's in the right place with that.
I mean, it kinda goes hand in hand. We're helping, trying to clean up the town, we're starting the day to start it.
Where do we get the money for it?
Well,
I'll fund it. It's a $500 dumpster.
well,
I know you will.
my
No
memory
garbage
serves me
shed.
correctly.
Uh,
If my memory serves me correctly, we've done this before, and it was abused.
I'm sure it was.
And the only way I can see that you being able to do this and not get abused, someone stays there the entire time that dumpster
Mhm.
there and monitors that. Now,
Day
who's
and
gonna do that?
hour.
Are we gonna pay someone to do that?
I think,
Because,
I just
mean,
think if you regulate it to a certain period of time, like
Yeah.
9 a.m. to 6,
Yeah.
7 o'clock, nothing after, nothing before.
Okay,
So
that means that dumpster's gonna get picked up
by
at that certain period of time.
correct,
But then somebody's still gonna have to be there.
correct.
Because last time, if I remember correctly, last time people dumped tires, all kind of stuff.
Mhm.
You know, and
Buckets of paint.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
I love the idea as
right.
well. A lot of towns do have it,
Right.
but the problem is that we've seen that.
Can't you
we've-
get the
we've
garbage
seen it.
trucks?
We've seen it happen.
Bo.
It's
Yeah.
not something that is very, it's speculative.
Correct.
It's a continuation that
That's
we've
the
done it many
consent
times,
order.
and every time it gets abused.
Yeah, I just think if we emphasize, like, let's try something, again, let's try it, give it another shot.
Okay.
If it gets abused, then obviously the painting's on the wall, you guys abused it, so we try to start something nice to do a spring cleaning day.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to implement something nice for that, and if it gets abused, then
I love the idea.
no one has the blame but the public itself,
Yeah.
because it sucks, because one person can ruin a whole batch.
We have, I'm sure Joe,
But I
Joe's
think-
been a table with this idea,
Right.
he's liked this idea before, he's thought about
Right.
it before. I just think that, I think the writing's been on the wall, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless you're gonna
But how long
monitor it,
ago was this?
3 years ago.
I'll tell you what we'll do 8 hours for the dumpster, I'll volunteer 2 hours of time to sit there, you volunteer 2 hours. I volunteer him
I'll
4
put in
hours.
2 hours, y'all have my-
Yeah,
Well, I'm just
Sure.
saying,
If I can bill, I'll come.
for sure. Right.
without the monitoring of it,
Yeah.
I can't get behind it
Yeah.
myself.
I mean, we got, how many people here?
Yeah.
If someone could just
Maybe
take
the
an
dumpster-
hour
at a time.
An hour at a time.
And see if the
We
dumpster
don't need
company will
it,
pick
we
it
don't
up
need
at
it
the end
open
of the day.
24 hours.
No.
You're asking, you're
I got
asking.
8 hours.
Yeah,
I
you're asking for
I
it.
can almost tell you that dumpster's gonna stay empty, because people will come down and pick every bit of scrap out of there. And it works like that. They'll sit down there and wait to fill their trucks up with that scrap. It
But
happens
they don't
every
have to
time.
wait, then come on over and see me,
And,
I'll hook it up.
Listen, it happens every time we set scrap out. We don't have to pick half the stuff up.
Some numbers and-
Yeah, for sure.
So-
I mean, if it's a financial issue, then like, I'm sure I could help to purchase a dumpster. I mean, it's,
Hey, I got
Is
you.
there,
Can I
Wendy,
give
is
you
there
mine?
Right.
anywhere down there that the cameras easily available?
Yeah, parking lot.
Or-
Depends on how nice you are to me.
Will be nice.
hard to recycle. I think we had issues in the past with
No, the
recycling.
recycling was down by the burn.
She's saying
Yeah,
hard
but the
recycling,
people that
ain't
got
cans.
it didn't take stuff.
Just a spring cleanup day.
No hard recycling.
Like,
So
you know,
no
like,
tires, no batteries,
Right.
no
No
paint.
TVs,
Right.
no
Oh,
electronics, no paint, no chemicals.
No
Just like they do
supplies.
it in South Union.
yeah, like if you have a couch that the garbage company won't come pick up, there, you have the opportunity to throw your couch into a dumpster.
And make it for the residents of the town, though.
Right.
You have to
Yeah.
show some
For
kind of
sure.
ID.
And if it's not followed and if it's not abused, then I think it's something we can continue to do yearly. And if we do need more dumpsters down the road, next year we'll do 2 dumpsters. And if it keeps getting full, it's,
Look, we gotta keep it here and,
yeah.
yeah, move on. Anything else?
Nah, that's all I got, Joe.
Mr. Solicitor?
Okay, what I wanted to, just while we were thinking about it, what I wanted to just offer, this isn't on my agenda or anything like that, but I wanted to offer what my knowledge of is of different things that's going on with water around Point Marion, because there's a lot going on, you know, to our neighbor to the north. Albergout Municipal is the water provider for Spring Hill and parts of Nicholson, and they are, guess what, under consent order. And what has happened is in their situation, they haven't sold, right now they are pursuing a interconnect with North Fayette. North Fayette isn't buying them out. They're going to sell water to Albert Gallatin. And so they're going to do a connection down the old B&O route from Fairchance area, and we'll still have the Albert Gallatin Municipal Authority, but the water will be purchased from North Fayette. And so North Fayette is willing to do this. They'll purchase the water, and they will then have a connection to the chief that the Albert Gallatin Municipal Authority has. During this process, now that is just currently what is in the talks to happen right now. In this process, they've also reached out to North Fayette, they've reached out to Southwestern Pennsylvania Water Authority, which is across the river. And they were talking about doing an interconnect under the river. And so what's happening is that these are not necessarily large companies that are buying anybody out, but these are local companies that are trying to help with issues. I'm not saying it, I know they're not out just for the goodness of their heart, but at least, but I just wanted to like let you guys know what other things that have been happening around here with water, you know, other than just, hey, let's just build a new plant. I don't know if any of these things will help. I don't know if any of these things will fit in what we need. But just letting you know what's going on. So Southwest Pennsylvania Water Authority was going to, they had suggested an interconnect, they would go under the river with Albergalton. Also, the big guys, Pennsylvania American came in and was going to, they were going to offer a buyout of the water authority. They would, buy it and fix it and put a new plant in, and then we would be Pennsylvania Water Authority company customers. Yeah, of course, that's Pennsylvania Water, that's a big company, and they're for profit. But that's another option. So I know that, Mitch has it, their stock's up.
No, that's how much they went up percentage. They went from 9.8, in 1 year they went up 41.5%.
Yeah.
And the DEP allowed it, or the,
PUC?
PUC allowed it.
Charging.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Because they bought
that's,
out.
now I'm not, this is neither here nor there.
I have them over, they bought Dilliner.
Yeah, I have Pennsylvania Water
It is right there,
in
you won't see it.
Eatontown. I don't
Yeah.
find them to be
But
too,
I'll show it on camera, see?
they're not too bad though, like,
Yeah.
like just the tap fee's only $6 there.
I'm not saying we want to do it or not. I'm just telling you everything I know about this because I've been dealing with this elsewhere. I also know that Fairchance was in the same situation. Years ago, Fairchance lost their water plant because the same thing that's happening now with us. And what happened, Angelica? North Fayette came in and bought the customers and the lines.
We still own our water plant.
But they still have their water plant. So I don't know what council wants to do.
I do have, let me add on this.
But let me finish first.
Yeah,
Don't
you're talking about
Yeah.
them selling us water.
Don't forget what you really said.
Yeah.
But so I'm sorry.
We're gonna sell them water.
Yeah, but there's a couple. Hey, yeah, that's. But I mean, what I just want to say is I'm not an engineer. I'm just a solicitor, and I'm just telling you what I know from dealing with other places. But there's different things that have happened. So Albergalton has to do something. So there is some, they have one option to buy water, another option was the interconnect, another option is to sell, we have more options than just, building another plant. I don't know if anybody would like to, contact these these companies besides, or even is something anybody's interested in. I don't know the answer to that. All I'm doing is just saying these are what's happening outside of Point Mary. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mitch.
He's right. They are having interconnects, and they're charging per gallon. Now, so if they brought water to us, we'd have to build the pump station, chlorine booster. That's $800,000 right there. Okay, number two, you pay for every gallon of water that comes to this town. If we're losing 30,000 gallons a day, we're paying for that 30,000 gallons wasted. And that's what's gonna happen over across the bridge here. We went to a meeting, they just up and said, yep, we're gonna do that. They're losing more than what they're selling. So
The company that is gonna buy Albergalton,
No one's buying it. North Fayette's just going to sell them water.
fill it up. The collection system is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, yes.
100 miles of pipes.
No, I'm talking about they're selling water, period. They're buying every ounce of water that comes into that town. And if it goes into the ground, you're still paying for it. The town's still paying for it.
Right.
So,
I want to say something about this water since you brought it up. Explain that.
Uh-oh. It's my fault.
When I first got on council, I would admit, one of my first things was that, man, we need to sell this water. We need to sell it. But let me tell you something I've learned in the time that I've been here. That Point Marion, by far, is on the dying breed of being independent from everyone else.
Absolutely.
It is a tremendous advantage to have that independence from big companies, profit companies, etc. And we don't need to lose that. Now, I realize that it's gonna cost a lot to get us back into compliance, but it's not based on the actions of anyone here today. It's not based on the action of anyone here that was here last year. It's based on the actions of 20 years of neglect. So when you look at the fact that we're gonna have to do something, which chances are we're gonna have to figure out a way to come up with this money to do this, and whatever it may take, we're just gonna have to do it. And it's just no other way around it. You know, I don't see any, you know, I wish I could wave a magic wand and solve.
Too bad we don't have a rich councilman.
And solve that problem, but.
It ain't that rich.
I'm making by me.
Lose my chain of thought, man. But anyway, the point of the matter is that, you know, at some point in time, somebody has to bite that bullet and pay for it. Well, it's coming. So, you know, we all as a town are gonna have to realize this and be ready for what's gonna take place. Because I think you all can see the writing on the wall.
Oh, for sure.
Like I said, I don't know the answer. God bless it, you guys are the ones who are gonna have to decide with that, but.
Well, here's the thing,
I just
even if we sell it to somebody, they're gonna raise the rates, because they're gonna have to make profit. If we build a new plant.
They are going,
there's no doubt.
there's no probably about it, they
But-
are going to raise the rates.
But to build a new plant, obviously, we're gonna have to raise prices.
Well,
to be able-
not really, because
unless
we
get
are a
grants.
small community that we can get grants.
Yeah,
And that's what he was telling us here.
Yeah.
We can get grants.
Small.
Yeah,
But
so-
we're still gonna have to
Hopefully.
pay for some of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
It's not guaranteed to grant.
But like I said, I just wanted to offer you to the council what I've experienced and seen in other places.
Yeah.
If it was helpful, that's great. If not, hey, it was
No,
just
I mean,
something
it
for-
is helpful, and
Yeah.
I'm sure I appreciate it, I'm sure everybody else does too. I just know that time is not on our side.
No, that's exactly right. And that moves on to what the other things on, for the solicitor's report is that I have been reviewing that lovely consent order, and I'm not sure what language it's in, but I will let you know. So I'll have a detailed report next meeting, excuse me, and then we will vote on that in the last full meeting of April. So that will give us enough time to get that information into the contacts of the DEP.
April 5th, April 3rd.
April, I thought it was May 3rd.
May 3rd.
May 3rd.
Because
Five
if it was April, we'd have to vote on it
5-3.
tonight. 5-3, okay. So,
No later.
we're,
5 p.m.
Yeah, 5-3.
Jack, you had asked me just last month, 409 Railroad, who owns it? It's owned by Melissa and Charles Rome, R-H-O-M-E. I don't know if that's helpful to you, but the last name is Rome. Militia is the name, at least according to Fayette Property. I don't know if that's helpful to you, but did we want to like cite them or get information to them? But that's the owner of the property. Let's see. Resolution. No, I'll talk about that in a second. Tax collector unfinished business, I'm just gonna go through things I can touch on. We had already passed that last month, or last meeting. We can take that off of the unfinished business, that is finished. Mechanical amusement device ordinance, what happened is that I have taken that off of the PSAT's website, and I've been tailoring it to our needs. What I'll do is I will bring a finished copy for council to review, and then we can decide whether we want to change something before we advertise it. Let's see. Frozen mishandled meter replacement charges. Wendy, did you get a copy? Did you get that?
It's all done and in the book and signed.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, we can take that off too. What happened is that we voted on that last meeting. I didn't have a copy of the resolution. I emailed that to Wendy, and she took care of it, so that one's done too. Let's see here. Road contract ordinance, Anthony, I gave you back that copy.
I'm working on it.
You're working on it, okay. And then weight limit ordinance, what I wanted to know is that which roads are we looking at to do that on? Do we have a list of that one?
Any road, all the roads, but
All the-
like, but it's already been posted though.
Okay,
They're posted, we just don't have an ordinance for a fine or a fee or anything like that.
I got you. So that would mean, because and bear with me, I'm working back to this one. Because they're already posted, it would assume that they probably had a study done. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make certain that the PennDOT's okay with it. I understand what I need to ask now. I'll contact them, and if everything has been, the i's have been dotted and the t's have been crossed, I can work on that ordinance too. Or finish it up, rather. Because what I'm talking about for the new members, what happened was, is Anthony suggested we have an ordinance for weight limits within and what that means is not so much that we don't have weight limits, but something that would allow us to have teeth for somebody, that let's say you drove a truck across, I don't know, give me a road, Anthony. Broadway, and it was 60 tons and it tore up the street. What the Commonwealth says is you can have an ordinance to allow our municipal officers to cite them for violating the being overweight, violating the violating the tonnage. But what happens is there's a procedure in how you have to do it. And one of the things is that you have to have an engineering study. If they've already done this and determined what the weight limits of the roads are, they probably have done that already. So what I want to do is contact somebody from PennDOT just to make certain, so I know we can move forward with the ordinance, because I don't want to put the cart before the horse. So that's what we're talking about there. So let's see here, task question discussion.
And there was like a fee and penalty implemented in
Yeah.
there, wasn't there?
So, let's see if there's anything else on my list from last
I'm also
week.
the funeral home be much happier that Chuck don't hit his bill no more.
Yeah, right.
That's only done about 20.
The old ordinances from
Yeah.
last week were
Bunch
submitted
of
to the courthouse. Letter to Seton. I don't wanna do, are we gonna do that in exec session, or are we gonna do that open session?
Well, if you do that, I guess that'd be open.
We'd have to
session.
vote on it anyway.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's all I have, Joe. Thank you very much.
I have a question.
Yes, Jim.
Estimate for the Gloucester property.
Exec session because it's potential litigation.
Okay. And then, any further identification of the owner of the Fowler House, 121 Jeanette Street?
We have,
Wendy?
well, just, it's exec session thing, but Jack's.
I have an address.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So just hold tight on that. And what, for everybody out there, anything that involves potential litigation, because it's privileged information, we're not trying to hide anything from anybody, but we can't do it in an open session. So, all right, thank you, everybody.
Alright, need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll second the
By
motion.
Anthony, second by Jack, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is there a need to go through you got a balance sheet? Okay, committee reports, public safety.
Hey, Joe, why don't you do this, just say blanket, if everybody's okay with it, we can just blanket everything for under bills and salaries and vote on one. I know you said bills and salaries, but you didn't talk about them individually. What we can do is we can do a blanket motion for the 4 items listed on the agenda. Would anybody like to make that motion to blanket those 4 items? Anybody have an issue
I
with
thought
it?
we just voted to pay it.
Yeah, all bills.
All bills and salaries, but because they're individual on the agenda, I need a blanket motion for those 4 that are individually listed.
I'll make a blanket motion to pay the 4 individually listed on the thing.
Motion by Anthony.
I'll second that.
Second by Mitch. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you all. I mean, I know some of these things sound silly, but we're,
Good.
you know.
That's why you're here.
Thank you, Joe. Praise from Caesar.
Public safety.
Yeah, seems like it's been somewhat quiet. Nick and I have been working on a couple things. One thing is, I don't know if you guys noticed, was lines painted in front of the fire hall and in front of Jenkins Auto. Those are speed trap signs. So I advise people to slow down coming through town. If not, you are going to get a speeding ticket, because people do fly up and down on this 119 road. And it's from vehicles to Mack trucks. It's,
Can't you get those things where those spikes pop up?
right.
We're still on the mechanical side where we throw them out.
Yeah, I mean, that road is 25 miles an hour. And
I've done that.
Could put a speed bump.
it's pretty aggressive, people flying down that hill.
Almost
But
got hit
that's,
today.
it's something that's been implemented into town, slow down traffic a little bit to follow these speed limit signs. But that's all I got for public safety.
Infrastructure.
Yeah, we got a couple things that went on. I mean, nothing serious. They've been painting some lines in various places for speed traps. Had a lot of water. People, their meters have all thawed out, and there's one we got to talk about in the exec session. She went through 150 some thousand gallons. She wasn't here.
What?
She was gone for a while. Yep. So her line busted and stayed busted. Wow. No heat in the house, so we're gonna talk about that in the exec session. They did get with Stifler McGraw, like I said, worked with them on this Morgantown Street project. Had some, they dug some pipe, some lines up today. Some of the valves weren't shutting the houses off. So we figured out which ones they were and got them dug up and replaced today. Did some work on some pumps up the water plant. They got the street sweeper ready, so they'll go out and start sweeping some streets. They put the sweet streeper on. Sweet streeper on the
Sweet streeper.
Yes, on the Kubota. So we're gonna do some streets and get them clean.
I'd like to see PennDOT come by soon.
Oh yeah.
They did the other day. And PennDOT come through with the truck pulling a sweeper, and it just blew dust everywhere. It wasn't a legit street sweeper. They were pulling it behind their pickup truck.
And to let you know, our Win 911 system works great because with this weather the way it's been, power's been going out. I've got phone calls. Dave got phone calls. He calls all five. There's 5 of us that calls, and lets us know everything. It went through a list. So when they said nothing shuts off, it sure gives you a detailed list of low chlorine, high chlorine. It just goes through them all when you lose power. And then also we got a tree went down up there. They had to cut and get out of the way, which we knocked when he was out of power for like 12 hours, so they had to stay up there. So, and because we only had two legs working up there. So when you got 2 legs, you can burn some stuff up. So we had to shut the power off so you don't burn pumps up. Because they'll run on 2 legs, but they don't run well. And they won't run long. So that was one of the issues. And if you have noticed, I believe, and I'm not sure, I talked to Mr. Durr. He started on McKinley Hill to put the lights up, finished the last set of lights. I don't know if they got them up yet, but they're going to start this week and finish up next week. So,
LED.
yes, that's the last section that wasn't on that was supposed to be on the list, but they didn't have it, so they're up there doing them now. She asked about the streets. They're not going to do the streets until they get the gas lines put in. They'll dig them, get everything.
Oh, I hope.
So when you see these guys our guys out there digging and putting lots of pipe in, that's because we're not putting little sections in. We're putting full sections in. Because once we do these streets, like we did up on the hill, I don't want to dig them up.
No,
I want them to be done, and that's
it.
The new thing is when you dig on our streets, they're not going to be just digging and filling holes back in with gravel. They're going to get done, and then they're going to settle. And once they settle, we're going to hot patch them and tar them so they seal.
Yeah.
I mean, we got one chance to get new streets in this town. I'm gonna try to keep them clean, taken care of.
That street was done beautiful. Then 2 weeks later, mine busted.
Yep. So that's all we got this time. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
Code enforcement?
Code enforcement, last meeting, we had a report from March. Since then, we've posted 3 or 4 houses uninhabitable because there's water has been turned off. We think there's people living in a couple of them. Also made contact with a couple of out-of-state landlords regarding some properties that have changed hands due to the tax sales and whatnot. And other than that, I think it's been pretty quiet, waiting for the grass to grow.
You have any questions for me? Is it,
Any questions of Jack?
Janet Smith, you know her, who that is?
The name's familiar, is that property?
Yeah, it's, somebody called me and told me her house is falling down. It's,
Is that on Grant
It's
Street?
on Grant Street,
Oh, down on the end on the left.
right next to a house that somehow got burnt. You know,
We have a number of properties at the end of Grant Street that have been deemed unsafe structure. We have 2 of them that were torn down about 3 months ago.
That's up on Grant Street, that, I was
I'm
like.
trying to think, I'm not familiar, I need an address, property address, so I go look at it.
That's almost down to the end, ain't it?
On the left.
Well, the person who called me said that the house on Grant Street, the end of Grant Street, that burnt, the guy burned it intentionally, so he went out there down. And I guess we had condemned the house already?
I don't know anything about it, the house burning down on Grant Street.
You're saying he attempted to burn it down because it was labeled unsafe structure?
Yeah, he burned it, it's still sitting there.
Nice.
Jack, it's 225
Just done
Grant.
Recently, or?
I guess, yeah. And then,
I've had no complaints, I don't know, I'm not familiar with that. Mark, the code guy can go out and take a look at it.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
I tell you who called me, Dave called me, Dave
Right.
Gordon,
Yeah,
because he was upset that he's tearing his house down legally.
right.
And this guy just goes and burns his down,
I can
he
tell-
wants to know why. I was like, well,
You can call Mark.
Please don't burn them, costs too much money to make that water over.
I know there's a number of homes in violation there, there's probably 3 or 4 that need torn down. 2 or 3 of them have already been declared unsafe structures.
I think that Janet Smith's house was declared unsafe. Janet Smith.
Probably has been, there's a house, yes, I don't know who it is, but there's a home there that they've been found guilty in magistrate court because they didn't show up. But they wrote a nice letter to the judge saying how I live in Dillner and can't afford to do anything with this property. I don't know if that's the same property on Grant Street.
I was bring it to your attention, I mean,
All right, we'll look at that.
Anything else, Jack?
That's it.
Mark, anybody?
Pertaining to the grant that we have, I'm just awaiting approval of the grant extension request. I touched base with, the grant administrator, and he said he's waiting to hear back from him. Boat dock, I got Myers to agree to come do that and fix the boat dock for $1,250.
Looks like when a
So-
fire breaks out.
I don't know if Borough needs to vote on that, or if it's under the threshold to where that it doesn't need a vote, I don't know. But he said that he would do it for $1,250.
Put that on our agenda.
No, yeah. It's not on the agenda, but I hate to lose the opportunity to,
For 1250, is that?
yeah,
1250. Yeah.
make a motion.
Well, I'm gonna add on this, Brian Loring, who's a captain of a boat, that was going up and down, called me before the meeting tonight, I'll give a shout out to him. He called and said that looks like it's starting to separate more, so we need to act on this, because,
Sure.
yeah, we're gonna get some high water here, spring's coming, always get high water, so we need to get this locked in.
It's gonna end up downriver if we don't take.
I'll make a motion
Oh,
that,
wait. Motion to amend the minutes,
I'll make that motion to amend the minutes to add,
that 1250. I need a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Now,
I'd like to make a motion to have Myers for $1,250 repair our dock.
Did they say how soon they're gonna be able to come down?
I told him that, as far as I know, it's gonna be okay and to let me know. So, hopefully within the next week or two.
Sweet.
I made a motion.
Okay, Jack made a motion,
Hellman second.
second by Hellman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm not sure what the motion was.
we're giving the solicitor a raise. No. Thanks, Ellen.
To be able to get Myers down there to do the dock. Joe, that motion was to get Myers down there to do the dock.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I was kind of kidding. personnel, do we have anything we have to do? Tax collector, under unfinished business.
We did tax collector ordinance, we did the mechanical, I took care of tax collector salary ordinance during solicitor report, I took care of mechanical amusement device ordinance during solicitor's report.
The, JP environmental payment due.
I think do we know the amount now?
It was 38, right? And then they want penalties on us now.
Oh, Blake.
We talked about that
Yeah,
last
we
time.
talked about that last time.
Absolutely
They
right.
wanted to attach late fees and everything else,
No,
right?
no. What's the amount that without the penalties and late fees? All right. Someone make a motion to pay.
Out of what account? I don't think we have it.
Sure we do. We just got 44, what?
Oh, you mean in the,
Yeah, that's what that money was allocated for, so let's pay
yeah,
it.
I just wanna,
I will be happy to litigate that for years if I have to. I am not going to let them bill interest and payments. No, thank you. Interest and penalties.
So would you like us to pay that bill, Joe?
I don't think we have a choice. How much, Mitch?
I'll make a motion to pay the
Base amount.
Base amount.
Base bill for JP Enterprise.
Motion by Mitch, to pay the initial bill.
GP
Second,
environmental?
Right, yes, sir. JP
Yeah.
Environmental.
It's underneath unfinished
Yeah.
business.
second,
I'll second it.
Yeah, no.
second by Jack, debate, any question,
He said
discussion,
enterprise.
concern. All in favor, say aye.
It is.
Aye.
What says
Opposed?
I was just wondering.
Okay.
RCAP Solutions.
we skipped frozen and mishandled meter replacement?
No, we took care of that already. That's,
It's already done.
yeah, I took care of that in solicitor's report.
Signed and put in the-
RCPA Solutions.
What is that?
It's that thing that GIS
Oh, I thought
Oh,
we
the
did
free,
that.
oh, the free, yeah,
Yeah, we did that last
Yeah.
time.
You told me to put all unfinished business back.
Yeah, but I thought we finished it.
So I did.
Very good.
Are they
She
coming?
was just following order.
I thought we finished it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought we
yeah.
finished it last.
Okay.
I
Joe?
already contacted, Stephen McGraw,
All right.
told him to go ahead and proceed with that, so.
Joe, we
That's a
talked
new
about the
line.
wastewater consent
Yeah.
order already.
Right. Elementary school, they're all of it now.
I think we need to just, we're gonna talk about that on Wednesday.
But
Okay.
Yeah,
That's gonna be a Wednesday
Town
conversation.
yeah, talk about that.
Yeah.
Wednesday. We talk
And the
about
school
it.
board, the
Cindy
school,
left. She-
the
she
school
didn't
board
be here
officials
that.
coming down on Wednesday too, so.
Right.
Really? Who's
Who's
coming?
gonna be there?
Wednesday.
It's a
It says it right
surprise,
on the
man.
paper.
I like Brian,
Oh.
Can't tell you, man, it's secret.
salt
Nobody
shed purchase,
Well, I still think we should purchase that salt shed, get with Angelica as soon as we get our liquid fuels. I'd like, Anthony's been looking some up, but, where are we looking, about 17,000, Anthony?
And that's,
We don't need nothing.
Depends on what you want.
yeah, it depends on what we get. I mean, we're getting square, we're getting round.
Oh,
Actually, they're round, they're more expensive.
I know, but I like to have the round.
They're pretty.
they're pretty.
Works good.
I like inexpensive.
Yeah.
I don't care what you
But
want.
yes, we already looked at the spot where we
We
want
can
and
get
everything,
a
so
couple.
we need to keep looking on that.
Okay.
It does, we don't have to do, we got time, but I'd like to get it done before, you know,
Next winter.
yeah.
Let's pick one out. We stay under a threshold, bidding
Well,
So
threshold?
it'd be done.
If we get through CoStars, we ain't gotta
Yeah.
worry about it.
Oh, well,
And I wanna get some blocks, the block,
We're
No,
talking,
footers.
you're talking about bringing it up 2,
Mhm.
3, 4, whatever
4 foot.
feet you
yes, so we
want.
ain't gotta buy such high, yes. So, we'll get with that, but
Alright.
we'll go through CoStars and let them do the bidding
So
for us.
that stays unfinished.
Is that next one about, is that about the churches and
Road
stuff?
contract, ordinance, we're done.
We talked about that already.
Yeah, if we did
Tax
that.
collection discussion.
What is that? What is it, tax?
That's about filling the church, with the church parking lots and stuff like that.
Oh.
I told you,
That's our local real estate tax.
I don't believe that, start praising the Lord when I get out of my car, in my parking lot, into the church. So there you go.
Well,
I think, I think
I
it's
think the question.
So none of that
we
should
need-
be
like
taxed.
housing.
We need
None of it
some
should
sort of
be
a
Yeah.
resolution.
You know what, let's table that one for a week, just because, till next time.
That's right.
I'm
I
not-
would
I need to do
table it.
some,
It
I
says
don't know
you
the
enter
answer to
his
that
house
one.
with
Angelica's
Thanksgiving
right,
cooking.
we need some type of ordinance, I just don't. I don't have
So
to
you're
take
entering
this.
from the church apartment?
Under new business,
Church convenience.
business
No.
district, I don't know
Sure
what.
can.
No,
That sounds like
no,
Anthony.
can't.
You miss about that?
No, you're just gonna make something up.
Yeah, I think, I don't,
What's business district?
Under new business.
Anthony got something?
I'm sorry.
Business district.
New business?
Yes, I had talked to, Jack a little bit about this. And I know I haven't checked with the county yet as far as what's commercialized, whatever. But I also did some research, and what I wanted to do, I can't really do by law. So
No!
there is law precedence against some of the stuff that I had thought about. So, yeah, so I can't do it, so we just take it off.
All right.
Thank you, Lord. No.
Same thing.
I mean, you can't. Landlord water bills.
Well,
What is it?
Landlord water bills.
just take that off there. These are things I had done research on after the fact. And
Okay, table that.
no, just take it off.
I'll put that back on there.
Same thing.
I love you, Anthony.
No,
Thank you.
just so we have a clearly understanding.
No.
What I was doing is trying to provide life in the town,
Right.
right?
I know
You
parts of
you
the
got
right.
all these buildings, you got all this property that's in what we would call a business district, right? Nothing's going on.
Just laying there.
Yeah, and you got second floors, third floors, nothing's being done. It's just empty. And because it's empty, it doesn't do this town any good. Put something in there. I don't care if you change a mannequin and get a window, but something should be done so it's not it's occupied. As far as that goes. But anyway, it wouldn't work what I wanted to do. I found where I couldn't do it, so.
Found it was gonna cost you money, didn't it?
Not me.
Got two. I think I let it work.
Okay. Under announcements, correspond to community meeting, March 25th,
Yeah.
at 6 p.m.
That's
At
a
the
good-
Old Ford Garage. Is that word out?
It is.
People know that?
When you got that on Facebook?
I'll do it now.
Okay.
I had to wait till the meeting.
Should we put on like the potential speakers or just leave it blank?
I think I made a post with it on, with,
You did, Anthony, and I shared it to the Point Mary Borough page.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a slide agenda, and we put one on the window out there, on our bulletin board.
So we're definitely still on for the
Yes.
25th.
25th, yeah.
It's Wednesday.
At 6.
A motion to go into executive session
I'll make the motion.
I'll second
by
that.
Bud, second.
Second. He motioned it, I second.
All in